with a prayer. We'll then go into the pledge of allegiance, and then we have the civility pledge. If y'all would stand up. I've reached out to a local, a young local pastor named Greg Pinkney, who will help with prayer at the next town meeting, and I'd like to kind of be more proactive about getting a minister in here to pray, but I think it's very fitting to pray as we were taught to pray in the Bible by saying the Lord's Prayer. So if you all will say the Lord's Prayer with me. Our Father. Hallowed be thy name. Kingdom come. This day. It's like reading. And documentation under God. Justice for all.
I'll read the civility pledge. We pledge to build a stronger and more prosperous community by advocating for civil engagement, respecting others and their viewpoints, and finding solutions for the betterment of our town.
All right, item number 2, if you're following along on your agenda is roll call. So I'll call the roll for the council. I see Mr. Brown's here, Simmons is here, Mayor's here. Just thankful for everybody in the favor. Ms. Gasper's here, Ms. Helms is here,
Yes.
Mr. Brown is here, and Mr. Porche is also present. Do I hear a motion to approve the January agenda?
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? I do have one thing on this. I'd like to move item 16. Which is the approval of previous financial statements for November. I'd like to move that up the agenda to the number right after we approve the previous meeting minutes. Could I make the motion that we move item 16 to basically item number 5? Anybody
Second.
second, any discussion on that?
Why?
This is what I'm used to, it's like put that in there to deal with it while we're moving.
Okay, well, I just wanted to mention to you points of order from May.
Please.
It's established by an ordinance on rules of procedure for the conduct of proceedings. Actually, I believe the amendment is suspending the order should not, the 2/3 vote. But if this is something that the council thinks should be better addressed at that time, I suggest that we amend our code to reflect that, rather than to just move stuff around and what it should be.
I plan on putting it on the agenda.
But I don't have any objection to it. I just wanted to make those statements for it.
Am I correct that if I'm more proactive and put it on the agenda, I can move it forever, huh?
It goes by what the council rules are.
I think we changed that though.
We did.
Because there was like a very formulaic, it had to be in this order, and every little thing had to be on there, and we changed it to basically say, you guys can set up the agenda how you want.
We did.
It's just a personal preference thing, I got it.
Why did it move?
It's what I'm used to. I don't know why. it's different.
It was noted to me that it was out of order for the procedure of meeting, and so then I moved it back to where it was.
Oh, so we changed that. You just may not know. You may not have seen that ordinance. So that was a couple.
Any further discussion?
No.
All right, so the motion is, to move number 16 and number 5. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, hearing no opposition, that motion carries. Which brings us to approval of the previous meeting minutes. I'd like to open discussion, I'd like to entertain a motion to open discussion on previous meeting minutes. Lyle says so moved.
So moved.
Good second.
Aye.
All right, and comments, does anybody have any comments on the previous December meeting minutes? All right, the reason I started down with the open discussion instead of move for approve, I did read every word of the minutes, and I wanna look at the public comments, section number 10. And there's a sentence in there that it's just ambiguous, and I think it's hard to read. And I think it doesn't quite get to the point we were making. There's line 5, the first complete sentence, capital they would be setting them up through the same procedure they used to ride Low Country when they came, that sentence. And what I move is that we strike that sentence, just strike it, and then that paragraph reads correct.
Second, do we need a second?
So I'd like to make a motion to amend the December minutes by removing the first full sentence on line 5 and the number 10 public comments.
Second,
Discussion?
Is that not what actually reflect what was said?
It's ambiguous. It's like it seems to point to something that
What
wasn't.
I'm asking is that not what was actually said? Were
I'm not-
those the words not used?
I don't think that they.
It's what was said. If it's what was said, then I think it needs to remain.
Right. We're gonna have more discussion on that? All right, well. I hear you, I think you're right. It is a bit of a difficult sentence to read, but the record will show that I called attention to it. And I'm fine with that, so move to receive move to accept the December meeting minutes as written.
Would you like to remove your motion from the floor, then to strike that sentence?
Yes, I'll move. And then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Motion to approve.
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, that brings us to the new number 5, which is number 16, approval of previous financial statements. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the previous financial statements.
motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. So the fun stuff, we need to appoint a, mayor pro tem, we need to appoint the chair and vice chair of the council committees, including administrative and ways means. And, I'd like to nominate Grace Gasper for mayor pro tem.
Second,
Any discussions? Are all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, hey, Matt,
Yes, sir.
what's the mayor pro tem responsible for?
Basically serves as in your role in your absence.
Right,
So if you get sick, you're traveling, there's a council meeting and something comes up or there needs to be declared a state of emergency and you're not around. That's what basically we're covering.
She also has signatory responsibilities.
That's correct. It's all of them are specifically laid out in the ordinance, but the primary thing is in your absence, she sort of steps in your shoes.
including emergencies,
Yes.
including sign check.
I'm willing, if anyone else is interested, you won't hurt my feelings,
You're
but
not.
I'm happy to do it.
You're not interested.
I understand.
Take someone's grace can't make it, and you can't make it.
Probably Catherine at that point. I don't know.
We would have to vote for an acting chair.
An acting one. Yeah.
Says the chair, the first thing he did, it's.
Oh, so then, okay.
Well, I've entered from the council. Read your code.
So would that be the administrative committee or?
So I think that's the first thing he did.
Great segue. Great segue. So let's talk about administrative committee. We need to receive nomination for the administrative committee. I was thinking that, well, how do you do this properly? I'd like to make a motion that, John Timmons be the chair, contract, the co-chair or something, one of those arrangements, chair. Wasn't.
Mr. Brown has served as the chair, so he's, no longer,
No, I believe the code,
yeah.
it says I can't.
So we should
continue.
establish that first, who is the current,
Right.
I didn't say that, it just.
And
but just for information purposes, just to,
Appointed each year.
And
It isn't, it can't be appointed again.
right.
Okay.
But just saying, currently he is the chair and
I need somebody to replace me.
does not want to be renominated.
So we understand that.
Yep.
Yes,
We understand that, and would anybody like to make a motion to nominate the new chair and co-chair, do you do that separately, be the chair and the co-chair?
Point of clarification, it's not co-chair, it's vice chair.
As chair,
Co-chair kind of, can they still?
right?
Vice chair.
So I'd like to entertain a motion for the chairman of the administrative committee. Anybody have a nomination? Yes.
I was just gonna suggest nominating Kent as chair, since he's already been serving as vice chair with Paul.
Right.
And John as vice chair for that committee.
Right here, second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Alright,
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you. All right. Which brings us to the Ways and Means Committee. Well, like, let's see, who's on the Ways and Means, you wanna do it that way again?
Mr. Frazier.
All right.
And the vice was
Two captions.
Mr. Catchins, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right, so
Frazier and Catchins were chair and vice chair.
I'll request a second on the motion, or I'll make a motion that, Ms. Helms be the chair of the Ways and Means Committee and Mr. Porche be the vice chair of the Ways and Means Committee.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for your patience with me, Ken Doyle. Appreciate your input. All right, Charleston County Special Events, Allendale Fire Department, I think, Chief Gadsden had sent proxy again.
Okay. Sorry, I was not even good.
How's everybody doing this new year? Wonderful. Chief Gadsden sends his apologies if he couldn't be here. He will be at the meeting next month. He did send me some talking points. End of the year activity. Wanted me to advise that this past year, our department responded to 1,697 calls for service compared to the 1,613 in the previous year. And the 1,500 calls in 2023, 1,517. Shows a steady increase of about 100 calls a year for service. We wanted me to inform the council that I will be providing a detailed breakdown of specific incident types in my report next month. This will include a multi-year analysis of motor vehicle accidents occurring over the past 3 years at the Seawee Highway 17 intersection. So he is compiling that information and we'll have that very specific for the council. Some of the things he wanted me to inform you all to look for. Our station right over here, Station 2. We're, as of this afternoon that I looked at, we will be hosting 4 different South Carolina Fire Academy classes that will be internal for our people, but also open to external people from other fire departments to attend. Our hybrid maintenance program that we've got in conjunction with the town of Vondel will begin spring, and you'll see us doing annual inspections and reliability checks on those. And something that will be interesting that you may start seeing around this area. We are in the final stages of hammering out what are called mutual aid and auto aid agreements. So that could, what it will mean for the town of Vondel is it's very possible that if you call 911, you may see a fire engine from Isle of Palms, Mount Pleasant, Cainhoy, or different areas. The difference between the two, the mutual aid and auto aid agreements, Charleston County, all the municipal fire departments are in the county's auto aid agreement if they can provide that service. We have one dispatch center for all the fire departments, and that is something, if just little trivia for you, that's something nationwide that people come here to look at what we do in Charleston County with that. The county handles the dispatch for all those different fire departments. What they've managed to do is all get on board with responding the same way, and it kind of deletes the town borders. So the closest fire engine to where you're at is the one that will be responding. Because of the size of our department in the past and the apparatus that we've had, it has kept us from being able to offer services to that auto aid agreement. We have the new cab over engine that holds 4 to 5 people instead of the 2 that traditionally we have. In Mount Pleasant, we just recently commissioned another, what's called a cab over engine. So we will have a crew of 4, and within the next year, we'll have a crew of 4 on an engine here, which will bring us up to 12 people. Instead of having one fire engine with 1 to 2 people pile out of it, you'll actually have an honest to God working crew. That also puts us in that auto aid agreement with Mount Pleasant, and working with them, you're gonna see some great changes with that. It improves interoperability, response capability, and overall service delivery to the community. The other thing that you may see is, I call it our jacked up pickup truck. But we just got done over the past 3 weeks. We have fabricated out of basically thin air. We took a it's a Chevy 3500 that was due to be retired from Charleston County Rescue, and we have outfitted it as a brush truck. So in the event of wildfires, fires where sometimes in the district we can't get a fire engine to it, it is going to be fully outfitted. Currently, it's got a 250-gallon tank with a pump on it. And we are actively sending our people through wildland fire training. So those are some of the big things with that. Chief Gaston will have some hard numbers for you. I'm not the numbers guy. You have any questions for me that I can relay back to him? Yes, sir.
Well, maybe you can help us hopefully. You had mentioned the training exercise, that's on the station.
Yeah, those are training courses that we're doing.
Explain that to me.
So there's a whole caveat of different courses, fire investigation, firefighter 1, firefighter 2 certifications. Incident command structure that allows us to interface with other agencies and FEMA in case of natural disaster. We have not had a facility to be able to offer that. Offer those different trainings through South Carolina Fire Academy instructors. The facility that we have behind the station over here, we finally got it up to snuff. So the next 2 classes that we're going to be offering are the Rescue the Rescuer and RIT, called Rapid Intervention Team. And that's basically 911 for firefighters that are on scene. It's how to successfully go in, but we will be doing auto extrication. You'll see Mount Pleasant, and Mount Pleasant has a wonderful training site off Seaweed, but it's like going to the same high school every day. You get to know it. Sometimes shaking it up, us being able to use their training site and they're coming to ours, they don't recognize that it's not muscle memory for them. They actually have to think and use their skills. So,
do y'all ever use their facility?
yes, we certainly did.
Okay, but what you're doing here cannot be accomplished at that facility.
What we're doing here can be accomplished at that facility. Their facility, what they have that we don't have is they have a live burn ability. And that requires lots of regulation and lots of walkthrough where they can simulate a fire. So annually, firefighters are required to do a live burn exercise. We use Mount Pleasant's facility for that. But we have also been in contact and are working and doing, our teams at the station in Mount Pleasant and the station here are training with Mount Pleasant Fire. Basically, I'd say on a daily basis, but on a shift basis. So we do 48 hours on, 96 hours off. We'll get together with the guys in the truck from Mount Pleasant. We'll pull hose, pump trucks, force doors, different things to keep our people sharp on their skills.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for your presentation, officer. Could you remind me of your name? I didn't.
Yeah, I'm Chief Joshua Whitworth.
We hear we hear the sirens going off of a few times a week coming out of there and all this things. First, I'm startled and then I feel safe.
Well, wonderful.
Thank you for your.
Always fine. Thank you for allowing me to serve you guys.
Just Josh.
It's just Josh. I'm sorry, I've known this before Shane. Way too long. Yeah. Years and years. Thank you all. You have a great night. Stay safe.
All right, let's hear from Lieutenant Turner from Charleston County Sheriff's Office.
Good evening and happy new year to everybody. I'll start off with more for the citizens. On Saturday, the sheriff's office is doing a trailer stamping event at our headquarters from 8 to 4. If anybody has any kind of trailer or large equipment you want a number put on that you don't have a serial number, you can come and get it, and it'll get stamped, and then they record it in case it ever gets stolen. A lot of trailers around South Carolina aren't, well, unless they're commercial, not required to have a VIN number, and a lot don't. And when it gets stolen, you can say, well, the middle board was red. That's not enough for me to take somebody's property back from them, because they bought it from somebody else on Craigslist. So if you can go and get a individual number stamped on there, and then it's put in our database, and if it happens to get stolen, it increases the chance that we can get it back. Yeah, it's this Saturday from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon.
Where is that? Where?
Sheriff's office on Leeds Avenue. Let's go over some of the highlights of the stats. For December, we had 17 911 hang ups. Those are where someone calls 911 and doesn't have anything to say. Usually we call them back. It's a shot in the dark whether they pick back up. 15 disturbance calls. It's usually a property dispute or something minor that didn't require a report. The big one, 501 patrol logs. Again, that's just deputies going by, whether it's a business or an area, and just logging in the cab that they were there. 126 traffic stops. Accidents, and actually went down. I only have 9 accidents for December, so people must have been behaving themselves. 3 burglaries for the month were reported. That's about all I have, unless you guys have any questions.
The traffic stops, they're from McClellanville to Ondar, or?
No, those traffic stops are just within McClellanville. So I mean, it's just within Allendale.
Okay,
So.
this is 126 in McClellanville a day, so we'll just check.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lieutenant Turner, thank you for we appreciate you making the time to do it. All right, Municipal Park Foundation Board, Ashley Blythe and William Alston.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for your time. Since you saw us last, you guys approved our maintenance one. Thank you for that. We are moving forward with that. The site work contractor will be mobilizing within the next couple weeks, so we'll get the site work done and the fencing will start. I have compiled quotes for signs. I'll be presenting those to the board to let them make a decision on that. And that's kind of where we are.
Yeah, and all the other things, we're in the process of also making a plan as far as a rental agreement for consumers who want to purchase or excuse me, rent the park. So we're in the process of that, but other than that, that's all I got as well, so.
And the last part too is at the last municipal park board meeting, we received a notification from Charleston County that there is $7,360.89 for park funds, and that's Parks and Recreation Development Funds. That is available to the town of Allentown in order to apply and have the park board recommend a project. For those funds, we need to have an approval for a letter of intent to start actively going after those. And the park board did recommend approval of going after those funds.
So you need a motion from us?
Yes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Oh,
Discussion, sorry, yeah. Always, almost missed it, so.
So. We know what we're gonna spend this money on?
This is the letter for intent in order to start the application for it. The park board would then, after we have the letter of intent approval, they would come up with a project for the park. Come back to council to say, this is what we would like to recommend to use these funds for.
Right, and I believe these are matching grants.
Yes,
What
this,
is the match?
the match is,
Good question.
I always ask you.
matching would be, so the total fund amount is the $7,360.89. We would be matching 20% of those funds.
Okay, and you said, to a project, every day, they could be multiple projects, just so long as you didn't exceed that now.
Correct.
And we have to know what it is, obviously, before we take the canvas for money.
Correct, but this is the first step for the letter of intent to state that we are looking to get for those funds. The application deadline to submit a project is March 20th, 2026.
Thank you for that information.
So the match is just south of $1,500 and 20% of the 7,000.
And we would be getting 80% from this grant.
And does this is there any potential of using this on the municipal park largely and then doing something with this park with this money too, or is that a separate thing?
Now you can do it with this park as well. If I left it up to the park board, as this is related to the park, for them to make a recommendation for a project that they would like to see.
Not trying to take them on to something.
No, they're all important. Yeah.
And this is through the Charleston County Parks and Recs?
Yes, so we'd be submitting it through them. It's kind of like,
County?
yes.
Isn't it through the state?
We apply through the county, the state gives the county the money and then the county gives us the money.
It is a state fund.
It is, but the person that we're physically applying to is Charleston County Parks and Recreation.
Good discussion. Anybody want to make a motion?
There's a motion on the floor from Councilwoman Helms,
And
a second from Mr. Porchet.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Thank
Motion
you.
carries.
Yeah, thank you guys.
All right, good work, team.
Thank you all.
All right.
All right, we're through that with number 8, public comment. I didn't see anything on the agenda for public comment. I haven't seen that anybody signed up tonight. Any public comment? All right, well, let's go to number 9. Council report from Ms. Helms.
Good evening.
Yeah.
We don't have any. let's see. To begin with, I want to officially welcome our newly elected members to the council table. I was present online last month. I could not attend in person, due to caring for my husband, who was recuperating from a fairly serious surgery and had just, been released from the hospital. And I just wanted to thank all of you who had reached out with prayers and encouragement, and I really appreciate that during the holiday season. I'm hoping next year Mayor Crowley will take over this task, but I just wanted to take the opportunity to reflect on the progress that council has made. Beginning in 2024, council approved a moratorium to pause development that was driven by approximately 90% of citizens, you guys, that were concerned over overdevelopment and protecting our rural character. We reconstituted our administrative, which was formerly our personnel committee, and our ways and means, which I don't know if it was formerly the finance or procurement committee. This structuring, we believe, had provided much more transparency to citizens as council made decisions on staff and budgets. We reconstituted the planning commission and the board of zoning appeals. We began the strategic planning of town hall improvements with the use of federal funds. I know Catherine's going to speak to this a little later, but to date, the following projects have been completed or are in process. The painting of the water tower, a new roof. We repaired subfloor, which I'm not sure that we were fully prepared for. And we're currently upgrading our electrical and HVAC systems. We completed an assessment for technology upgrade and implemented new email, file sharing, phone systems, and I believe new computers. We completed an organizational assessment to determine our current and future staffing needs. We hired a new firm as our town's legal representative, Mr. Mack sitting here. In 2025, we extended the moratorium as we were working on the comprehensive plan. We adopted ordinances to increase minimum lot sizes and tree protection. And that was in response to concerns expressed by more than 85% of our citizens that were from the community survey and workshops that had been held in 23. And we completed and passed the town's comprehensive plan, which was a pretty large undertaking. Finalized the Allendale Municipal Park Board. We hired a new firm as the town auditors and began the process of bringing our audits up to date per state requirements. And we approved the installation of the devices to broadcast and record all the town meetings, not just ours, but planning and BZA for when you can attend. And we hired a new town administrator, a new town planner, and I'm hoping in the near term, a utility manager. And we worked with our state representative, Mr. Bustos, and DOT. He was our advocate to DOT about the intersection at Highway 17 and Seawee Road. Their response this time was to improve signage. And while I'm grateful that they heard our petition, I'm not fully satisfied with the signage. I think there's more that can be done. So that conversation will be ongoing. Along with that and other things, there's more to do. And I just wanted to say I look forward to working with all of you and our new staff.
Thank you as well. And great work too. That's a long list of accomplishments. All right, mayor's report. I've been spending a lot of time at town hall. Like my staff, I work 60 hours a week on a regular job. My staff is like, where are you? And I'm learning a lot. And the reason that I'm spending so much time is because I now have a lot to learn. And I've made some mistakes and I'm committed to the task, and I sat before you on December 4th. I said it was with a great deal of humility and a deep sense of responsibility that I find myself sitting in a place where I've never sit. And it's the second time that I sit here. I'm learning a lot, like, for instance, I gave everybody the December 23rd off. And a week mayor's not allowed to do that. Sorry. It was just, I thought it was a good thing, like people gotta travel on Christmas or see people are traveling on Christmas, so. I'll do it, I'll be better, and I learned a lot about our rules and I learned a lot about municipal processes. One of the things I learned about municipal processes is nothing happens quickly. Like everything takes a long time. And it's different in the private sector. It's such a relief to get back in the private sector. Today, I paid bills for my company and didn't have to ask anybody's permission. I just paid bills. I made it the budget, I called the meeting, I bought myself and it's paid bills. And I'm learning a lot about the town. I've done a lot in my life. I think I can be helpful. And I got a little bit frustrated and I was disappointed that I wasn't getting my way and I felt righteously indignant that the three ordinances I really wanted to see on this agenda did not make it. And luckily, I had a chance to talk to Matt, and I was sitting down, we're trying to bring some speed to the things going on. And I advocated to get those ordinances put back in the agenda. And Matt patiently explained to me why that would not be the right thing to do at this point for our town. That it would put us in potential legal duty. And so thank you. I understand, I hear you. I didn't get my way, I got a little upset, but I understand that, I got all the facts, and I understand why we need to move. I wouldn't mind calling a meeting, an emergency meeting, or not emergency, just another meeting, like on January 14 or 15, and have those ordinances ready. And do that, I would love, I don't know if that's, if this is the proper way to introduce that concept, I would love to have a meeting once a month. I don't see how you get anything done if only once a month. I feel like we got too much to do. To only meet once a month. But I'm looking at things that you've been asking me to look at, the HVAC, that big project that has a lot of big schematics. If that were somebody's regular house, not my house or my project that I was driving independently, like a project management organization like that done, that would have been done, but everything takes a long time in municipal government, but that is on track. I've heard and conceded that a municipal employee is a good idea, that everybody thinks that's a good idea, and I'm happy to report progress in finding a new member to our staff. And the staff I've been super impressed with, just the idea that they show up day in and day out and do the business of this town. You know, it is, it's often a thankless task. And there's a lot that goes into it. And I love to see you guys in the building, and I love to see you doing the work you're doing. And I'd like to just thank you to the staff. This town, you know, like this isn't gonna run itself, and I know you get more out of positive reinforcement than you do out of negative reinforcement. If you don't know what the staff is doing up here, come on up and meet them. You know, like walk a mile in their shoes. It's not what you think it might be. There's a lot going on. And again, when I was talking to Mac, and he said that since he got here, things were about 1,000% better. Because of the staff. So thank you guys. I was down in the ditch the other day. And I don't know if you're not here. There was somebody that pulled, there's trash all in the front ditch out here. Solo cups, styrofoam cups and new packs of Newports and you know, whatever, blood guts and the works and vape pens and things like that. And I think perception is reality. So I got here early and thought I'd go incognito, and I was picking the trash up out of the ditch. And I wouldn't tell you that, it'd just be clean, except for I got busted. There was a guy named David that lives in this town, St. David, and he stopped in his Explorer, and he goes, "Is that the mayor of Allendale down in the ditch?" And I was like, "Yeah, I consider it a position of service." He was like, "You know, serve on." And he was on his way to work. And I did get that ditch clean, and I've kept it clean. But when I came around the corner and looked back up towards 17, did any of y'all come in that way? It's horrible, right? It's horrible, and when I looked at it, it dawned on me that I shouldn't be there by myself. Right? It was more work than I could do, and still come in and browbeat staff and work which is a joke, I don't believe, but but I looked at it and I thought, we need help, I need help with this, right? And I do, and I'd like to work with council and with administration in creating some kind of volunteer board that invites you to come take part in your town, that assesses what your skills are. If you're a good carpenter, Ron's got a project for you. If you're good, if you're concerned with perception being reality, you wanna make Allendale a more beautiful place by cleaning the trash out of the ditches, that's a big pet peeve of mine, because it ends up in the water. If it ends up in the water, it ends up in a turtle or a seabird or a fish, it pollutes our class one wilderness. Then we can have Allendale cleanup days, but I'm just, I pity the stenographer, but I'd love to create some kind of volunteer board, Allendale Pride or something, and I'd love for that opportunity to be of service, to take part in your town, to look like this town. I'd like for it to be, I'd like for all of us to take part. And so that's where I got with that. Metaphorically, like I was really down in the ditch. And I cleaned it up, it's a lot easier to clean up the second time, the third time, there's something out there by the bench, by the bus stop now, but I've also been in the ditch in other areas, like metaphorically, and trying to see if I can get my head around what to do about the relationships in the town, the division in the town, and what I've assessed, there's pretty obviously two factions, and I don't know what to do about that. I don't know there's nothing I can do about it, I gotta lean out on my own understanding on that one. Maybe that's Proverbs verse you talked about last time I was here. It's in the Sunday school class, but I didn't have any direction on what to do about it, so I went back to the instruction book. And I started by trying to find the thing. I mean, you ever open the Bible and it just says what you need for it to say, but. I opened it and ended up in the Old Testament, and I got to the begats, and it was like, the begat, I'm like, the begats are so boring as a kid, like, let's get to the stories. But then I thought about how important that was, because this town was begat, by people who made that seal. The Rings and the Alstons and the Porches and the Whites, and if I'm not calling you famous names, not that I'm trying to leave them out, Jacobs and the Simmons, and that's important. And then I continued to flip, and I got to the New Testament, I got to the book of Matthew, and I don't know everything I need to know is in the book of Matthew, but y'all remember Peter, the apostle Peter? He was talking the rock of the church, not like Dwayne, but Peter's a bad man, but Peter wasn't, like, he's the guy that in the Senate, when the Romans came to take Jesus, Peter was the one that cut the ear off the Roman. Like, Peter he was a bad man, and he was like, don't do that, Peter, and that, but the deal was, Peter, going to try some paraphrase, it's around 18:22, chapter 18, verse 22, where it starts, but Paul becomes Jesus all mad because somebody did it wrong. He was like, that guy slapped me in the face, what am I supposed to do? And Jesus said, turn the other cheek. And he's like, well, if I turn the other cheek, then I slapped him in the cheek, and he stole my shirt, and Jesus said, well, if he steals your shirt, give him the pants. And Jesus, and Paul was like, how many times am I supposed to do this? The Jews say 3 times. And Peter goes 7 times, and Jesus goes, how about 70 times? And Peter was like, 70 times? And Jesus goes, how about 70 times 7? Right? Which means infinite number of times. And then I'm not trying to turn this into a Sunday school class, and I'll finish up quick, but this is the point I want to make. The major point of division in our town. And I think we've got to find some instructions on how to deal with it. So right after Jesus says to Peter, infinite times, 70 times 7, he goes into the verse, the parable, and the teacher was so good at teaching stories. And he talks about the thankless servant, the one that gets forgiveness, but does not offer forgiveness. after receiving forgiveness, right? And the idea is that, in a simple paraphrase, the idea is that we have all received greater grace than we deserve.
Yeah.
Right, we have all
Amen.
received forgiveness. And how dare us not offer that same measure of forgiveness as we move, and that's, if you wanna look it up, read it's Matthew 18:22, and then the story starts after that, it's a short but powerful read. So down in the ditch is where I was, we talked about volunteers, this will be my last point, and I'll stop, although I could go on and on. I've worked with Dan, we're so lucky to have young Dan in our planning department. And he is a great planner, and he's going to help us make all what it deserves to be. And I've got a 2-year plan that I'm glad to have Dan. And I'm glad to have all y'all, on board, but I asked for a report on Dan, I was trying to get a handle on how many it is. And I've got a list here of developments and how many homes are being built, how many homes have been built. And I asked him for a number once we multiply the 774 units that are being built, and I played it out on the under 2.7 people per house. On I put 0.7 of a person in the house. That's 2,800 or 2,090 people. You know what the population of this town is now? Does anybody?
Less than 1,800.
Thank you. It's less than 2,000. So our town is about to double in size. Like the population of this town is only under is going to double in size. And they're gonna be members of our community. And they're not coming. There's nothing we can do. We can't increase our zoning, we can't change our ordinances, we can't, but all that needs to be done. We can slow this thing down. You've seen the clear cuts, right? You've driven down Phoebe Road, you don't have to drive far from here. Driven down Door Road, you've seen what's happening down in our town, and you wonder, like, what is happening here? That's the doubling of that's what doubling the population of the town looks like, and when those people get here. We need to be ready. And I'd like for us to be ready with clean ditches, because perception is reality. I'd like for them to know that all know not a place where you throw things out the window, because there's more room out there, right? I'd like for them to see a unified town. I'd like for them to see a volunteer group. I'd like for them to know that our water system is a model for small municipal water systems in the state of the southeast. I'd like for them to see a housing department that addresses a ravaging poverty problem that we can and will address. And I'd like to see them, I'd like for them to see roads and ditches that are well taken care of by the county and the state. I'd like them to see that. I'd like you to get on board with the vision of all in government. And I think it's gonna come to pass in the next 2 years, because what we do in the next 2 years is gonna shape the culture of this town for the next 20. Right? That's how important this moment is. That's how important, because they're coming. We're about to double in size, and when they get here, like my mama told us, we needed to behave when company was coming over. We need to get ready, figure out how to behave with each other, and get ready to figure out what, not be blind to simple things like trash in the ditch. I was gonna bring that to a crescendo and go, yeah, but it kind of turned into a lecture, didn't it? The last thing is I received some input that some people may feel disrespected by this hat I'm wearing. And I assure you, I mean no disrespect by this hat. And I've asked around, I asked some people, do you feel disrespected by this hat? And they were like, I don't think I've ever seen without it all on. And I mean, I don't mean for this hat to be disrespectful. For me, it's not a symbol of disrespect. It tells a story. And each one of these pens means something to me significant that has happened in my journey. And each one of those things is an item of service. And how I intend to be of service, and I want to put service first, and I do. And when I put this hat on, it makes me a person of service. And I called my old friend Katie May in Dalzell, South Carolina, and she's a sharecropper. She was old when I met her. I don't know how old she is now. And I asked her if it was okay, and she told me about chitlins. She showed me how to slaughter a hog. And I asked her about the hat, and she said, Christopher, she never called him Chris. She said, Christopher, that hat is part of you, and it means something with you, and you shouldn't let people tell you how to dress or judge you or shame you because of that hat. And I was like, what a statement. And she said, did I tell you what? Tell them they elected a mayor with attitude. I wasn't gonna say it, but, anyway, so I don't mean to have disrespect. If you find it disrespectful, please come and sit in my office with me. I'll tell you the story of why it's important. And once upon a time, with that, I will, I'll yield the floor and, move on to the administrative report. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mayor Crowley. So the first item on the report is the update on the HVAC. I've been working with Mayor Crowley and I've also been working with other members of council too. So it's back in 2024. The original quote for the HVAC was $61,178.27. And then the electric to go along with the HVAC was $23,850, which was $85,028.27. All of those funds were coming out of ARPA, which is the American Rescue Plan Act. Since then, we've been battling with Charleston County, and through our permitting process, we have permits for the HVAC. But when we came back to actually start working with the HVAC, the quote came back to $85,519.85. With that, that would be the difference of $24,341.58, and that's just for the mechanical. The electrical came back too after that project and on the higher end to do an upgrade for our electrical amp that's gonna be provided by Berkeley Electric. And redoing the panels and fixing some of the electrical outside and bringing the electrical to make sure the unit actually works. That bid came in at $42,130. So the total difference from everything is $42,621.58. In our current budget in buildings and maintenance, we have $250,000 for anything that comes up in this building. We have so far only spent $26,805.75. With that difference between covering the bulk of the $85,000 still from the American Rescue Plan Act, since we've already obligated those funds, and bringing that other total from the $42,000, it would only bring our total so far for spending for this current fiscal year, $69,427.33. With the assistance of Mayor Crowley, we are going to start this project on Monday. We also got a better quote on the unit itself with a better warranty that's going to be made in South Carolina. We're looking to see if we can decrease that electrical down by a little bit. And once the HVAC is done, then the electrical comes in and we will have heating and air in this building and in this room. And that's what I currently have. But what's going to happen though is because in 2024, we budgeted in the budget, it showed that those ARPA funds were spent in 2024, fiscal year 24-25. We need to show that those ARPA funds are actually being spent in fiscal year 25-26. So a budget amendment is going to be coming to show that change. Any questions on the issues?
So we will be able to use the ARPA money, we just need to reconfigure the public authority.
Yes, you need to reconfigure our budget to show that we are spending the funds this year. We have already obligated the ARPA funds.
And from what I think I heard, it was, we have $250,000 in the current budget for building maintenance.
Yes,
And how much has been spent already?
26.
All right, so there's plenty in other than
Yes.
for the summer.
Yes, so with that difference of the $42,000, it would be $69,427. But that could also go down a little bit more depending on that electrical, we get that decrease. Berkeley Electric is providing the upgrades to our electric meter for free. So it's upgrading the electrical system from a 250 amp service to a 400 volt service.
Can you speak, I know there might be some stickers off, could you speak to the impact it has on productivity when we have to close town hall when it's too cold, or, and the safety of having heaters plugged in everywhere and a overused panel?
Well, staff has, before me, has gotten pneumonia with not having sufficient heat. They also, sometimes sitting at your desk, it just gets really, we can't think great. So we've had to close just for the safety of that, and especially we don't want our staff to get pneumonia. There are also certain offices that are, but all of the windows do get extremely cold and extremely hot too. We don't really account for the heat aspect of it, but it does get really hot in this building. It's a beautiful building, but it gets hot. But having all of the heaters plugged in itself, we're not energy efficient, so not having all of those on our system will make us more energy efficient as well.
So we're gonna get that done, right? We're
Yes.
gonna get it done.
Starting Monday.
Starting Monday. That's crazy.
Thank you.
How long does it take?
I'll take it. So 4 to 6 weeks is how long it takes when you ask Ricky if you can get in the queue for the boring crew to get the 400 amp set. The HVAC starts Monday. Everybody wants them to be done and out of the way. And then we're waiting on one more quote from a local guy doing the fellow and son-in-law to do the electric.
We have a permit for the mechanical section, so that's how they can start so quickly, so.
So fast as lightning for municipal bus. Alright, so
The next item is we have started the fiscal year 2024, so this is starting June 30th, July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. They've started this week, they will be here next week, then it'll take them a couple of weeks to compute, do some more testing. The goal is to have the 2024 audit presented to the council during the March meeting. Once we complete the 2024 audit and it is adopted, we can start actively go out for grants. While we're in the process of doing the 2025 audit, because we'd only be one audit behind. And off the state's not with us.
But you're gonna keep the momentum going.
Yes, we'll still complete the 2025 audit and then be on track
Yeah.
to
Good.
have it be on a better schedule, but we are in the process of completing this one.
So, gang, much of the monies that happen in this place where I'm learning come from state, federal, and county grants. And the idea that we fell so far behind in our audits, we haven't been audited since 2022. And the idea that the March council meeting will bring us up through 2024 and immediately kick into 2025. Means that we're gonna be able to address housing, we're gonna be able to address parks, we're gonna be able to address the water. There are a lot of funds out there that we haven't been able to get to because we don't have a current audit. So that's a major thing for this town. So good work, and good work on that. The audits are happening right now, like they happen all week. And having those read out in March will be a big deal for the fund the town, so good progress.
And lastly, we still have one vacancy on the Board of Zoning Appeals and one vacancy on the Municipal Park Board that was not appointed at the last time that we did appointments. Questions for the council that I have are so we currently advertise on the town's website and we send it through our notification software through GoGo. Are there any other places that we would like to advertise for vacancies in the community? If we would like to, we currently do not have a deadline on any of the vacancies for any of the boards, if there would like to be a deadline, and when the council would like to have the board appointments come back before them.
I hear.
The earliest you can have, like, 3 weeks would be February 5th. During that meeting, I would have to advertise tomorrow. And to start actively getting applicants, or it can be at a special call meeting, or
I hear all over and over how people use the sign, our town sign. I would maybe add a notice there.
So do we like 3 weeks, is 3 weeks enough time, or do we wanna, try to get it in February, back in August, or do we wanna push it to March, or
What are we being asked now? When to,
there's no deadline on that?
well. The board of zoning appeals, I believe, you have to be a town resident. Right?
Right.
Park board, you don't. So you can advertise that wherever the heck you want to. The other house, you know, on the, I think the sign out front is the grand, I believe. And I would say as soon as it can be accomplished for the board of zoning appeals. That's crucial.
3 weeks is the shortest unless we call a special meeting.
How, you wanna know how long the running. Well, right now, you wanna know how long it is and cut it off once it's that deadline. Yes.
Yes.
And what is it? Let's vote on that.
I think well, I would just make a suggestion just the day before the meeting for the cutoff. Because the application's fairly simple, we're not asking. I think there's why do you want to serve, maybe on the application, I mean, it's not very in depth, so it wouldn't take someone very long to fill out an application if they found about it late.
So do I hear a motion?
So would we they could submit applications until,
Whatever, I
They
guess the
want-
February meeting, is that what you're saying, we vote on it then?
and we would make the decision
Mhm.
afterwards.
The applications Catherine will give to us
Okay.
at the meeting, or maybe probably 24 hours before, because of this when we get the agenda.
Once the cutoff happens, it would then be set off, but currently right now there is no cutoff, so like we advertise, and we continue to accept applications up until
So what's the date of the February meeting?
February 5th.
But if we have to advertise on February 4th, which is when you like to usually have council packets done, correct? Ideally,
24 hours is the deadline for FOIA for council packets to be advertised, so it would be 24 hours to be February 4th at 7:30.
so maybe either February 3rd or the 4th at noon, because that way she can get the packets to us. Does that make sense? The 24-hour turnaround?
And that will be for a period of how long?
Well, starting tomorrow, if she advertises it until February 2nd at 5 o'clock or the 3rd at noon.
So is the process just council reviewing applications, or is there any conversation with the applicants? I'm just thinking it might be nice to have a little bit of time once we get the applications to consider them. I don't know how many we'll get, but
We don't have requirements on the application for interviews. Some people show up and we ask them,
question.
or they offer to say themselves why they want to serve. But there's never been a set, you have to show up or you have to be open to questions.
So this position on the BZA board, that's what, chairman or just one?
No, just the position on the floor. There's already a chair and vice chair for all of the boards, this would just be to fill that vacancy.
Expiring 12/1/6.
So if they'd serve a year,
So they can't recommend someone?
That was not good enough.
Okay.
I say council appoints the BZA members of like, it is,
Yeah, that's where I was looking when it is, a former BZA, chairman retired, and looked at me say.
That was then close now.
Chairman, I've been for 2 years.
it is important, I think, to get somebody appointed, like even in, was it this week? Yeah, this week's meeting, we had one member recuse himself and there was a vacancy, so if any of the other 3 members missed, we would not have had a quorum. So it is, with a 5-member board like that, it's important to fill the seats as quickly as we can, I think, for that very reason.
I'll make a motion for the BZA appointment. That We have the town administrator advertise and look newspaper tomorrow. You said that could be the earliest it can be accomplished.
The paper, probably not tomorrow, but I can have it on the website and our notification software.
Okay, however that shakes out. And and we will accept applications until Tuesday, February the third. Make our decision at the,
At 5 o'clock, February 3rd at 5 o'clock.
okay, February 3rd at 5 o'clock, the business. And make our decision on the council meeting on Thursday, February 5th. The board is open. The open seat.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All those? All right, motion
Is-
carries.
Is there any verification for the municipal park board? When you'd like to advertise for that as well? It's like nothing.
Could we pause that until after we meet with them on Tuesday? Are we meeting with them on Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday, 13th. During their meeting for the joint discussion.
Got a motion?
Sure, I'm a motion to defer. Advertising for the park board, until we can meet with them on Tuesday, because I think we're gonna have a fluid discussion with them about what their needs are.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, that's all I have.
All right, town activities number 12, if you're following along, we'll as for a housing report, if you guys understand housing, that's the money to get a bucket of money, if you will, to get to help try to handle some of the poverty and some of the housing stuff like wheelchair ramps and HVAC units and falling down floors and things like that, falling in ceilings and things like that for the local community. And if you don't know about it, there's more of it in this town than you're aware of. If you do know about it, you know a lot of housing department and the work that Ms. Donna Speed does is so important. But we need to hear about it. I need you to hear about it. So we have a housing report.
Thank you. Donna did create this report for me today. So a brief history on the housing department. The housing department assists homeowners with programs that provide housing development from Charleston County through HUD funds. The town of Allendale uses Community Development Block Grants, which is CDBG, to fund the Housing Rehabilitation Grant Program. The town of Allendale receives funding through Charleston County, who receives funding through HUD. This program provides financial assistance to low, moderate homeowners from the town of Allendale by helping homeowners make the necessary repairs to maintain safety in their homes. So to be eligible for this program, it's elderly persons with a physical limitation and or disability. Or there are below the 80% median income and no repairs have been done for years. The housing rehabilitation services include but are not limited to water damaged floors and ceilings, new or leaking roofs, plumbing services, septic system repairs or new install, termite damage, handicap accessible bathrooms and ramps, and electrical upgrades. Currently, we have a pending list of several residents. 3 have already passed eligibility and are out for environmental review. 1 just went through a professional foundation scope, and we're waiting on Charleston County for the status on those. But while we still have those applications, we do encourage anybody and anyone to apply. For program eligibility or any other questions, please see Ms. Speed Monday through Thursday from 8 to 5.
I missed that. We only have 3 total applicants.
Pending or for that have passed eligibility.
How many do we have that have not passed? Like, they're waiting to be processed?
26.
26.
26. Thank you.
And how many are active right now?
Like, work is active.
We at Charleston County now, 4 women today. And we have to wait until they tell us they have passed their environmental review.
So the work's already been done.
That work was not done.
So there's no active payment going on.
Okay.
We have 17 that's been removed.
17 that are left
17 that's been.
for the fiscal year thus far.
How many do we typically do in?
It just depends on what needs to be done
And
and how quickly,
to.
and how
But
quickly
just,
we can get
I
the
mean,
environmental
is
review.
there a wide disparity in it, or is it fairly narrow? I mean, there's, will it be like, 1 year we do 10, 1 year we do 20, 1 year we do.
1 year we do 10, 1 year we do 5.
Okay. So there's no set. That,
But you said year to date, we've done 17
Yeah, fiscal year.
fiscal year to
Sorry.
date, right? It's very commendable. My impression is there are a lot of i's to dot, t's to cross, and hoops to jump through.
Yes.
My question is, this federal money or federal municipal, the money that trickles down, do we also look at other sources that these people are getting money from, i.e. the churches or the neighborhood or the neighbors?
We look at Roundup at Berkeley Electric.
Mm-hmm,
We look at St. Thomas, Vincent DePaul.
nice.
We look at Operation Home. We look at whoever will give us the funds. Go look at your pockets too.
So we do. We're not required, like we talked about a matching fund earlier. We don't require that they're also getting money from other sources. This is a service that you're providing them. Good.
town's providing.
The town is providing.
But I want some clarification on some of this. I was under the impression that the only thing that the town was involved in. Grant money from Dawson County. But you just mentioned a host of other agencies, and then the mayor's up there with a speech. She also mentioned a host of other agencies. Town staff is actively involved in interaction with those various entities for the housing endeavor also.
Yes, sir, but sometimes we need additional funds to complete a project. So we'll call them.
Okay, well, that's interesting, that, because I was under the impression we didn't do that. But we'll be looking at the housing. Yeah, that's a good. I think we all need to have a firm understanding of every aspect of it. And then that's why what you're hearing now, out of the student.
Could I just expand on? You mentioned you'll be looking to me and that's okay. I've heard it, I served on a church planning building committee. I chaired the committee. And we had a consultant advise us on how we as a church can go about collecting the monies we needed to build our church. And he used a term, and I didn't totally agree with it in a church environment. But he told me that you should identify those people in your church with influence and affluence. Now, understand, I had trouble with that in a church environment. But when we look at this town, there are definitely some people of influence and with affluence that, and I believe if they just knew of a need, some people would be stroking some checks. We look in the Post and Courier, and they have an article every week on on a need and how people came and brought money to the table. And yes, so this is definitely an area that we need to, I know Mayor Green was a driving force behind that, and I know you are, and we need to maintain, if not increase that momentum.
Totally agree. The idea that we get a more fulsome report and set up some framework around what the council expects for a report from the house department, I think is some work that we should do. I think we should, something to kind of, so we have a basis of what to expect and a good education on recognizing the trend. As, and I couldn't agree more about, developing some trajectory and momentum around this and getting all kinds of partners in. There's no reason that in this country and in a town of such affluence, we should be okay with the poverty rate that we could do something about. But thank you for the work you do, Ms. Conlon. This is, thank you for the most fun moment so far. You've done this, that's been done and done on Mr. Brown. All right, so. Let's go to, hey, guess who's having a birthday? Ron Mycroft. Okay. Okay, I was saving the best for last, plan. Guess who's not having a birthday? Dan O'Hara. He will wish to have a birthday, he got a lot.
Good evening, Town Council, and good evening, residents. This is my first time addressing Town Council in this forum, so I will start with our appointed boards that the Planning Department oversees. First, the Board of Zoning Appeals. Some of you may have noticed that there was orange signs located out on property on Highway 17 just off of Porsche School Road. The Board of Zoning Appeals heard an appeal of an administrative decision and a variance regarding an undeveloped lot off of Highway 17. The Board of Zoning Appeals did deny the appeal and affirmed staff's determination. The board also denied the variance request based on the petition not satisfying all of the 9 required criteria to grant the variance. Moving on to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission this month is set to meet 3 times, 2 special called meetings on the 12th and the 27th. The regular scheduled meeting for the 19th was shifted to the 20th out of observations for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. The Planning Commission has been working on various goals outlined from the comprehensive plan, as well as working on different ordinance revisions. I recommend any concerned citizens or town council persons to attend and view those meetings, and if you have direct questions, I'm more than happy to answer those. In regards to the planning department, as it was noted, this is my 3rd month here. I started in October. I would be remiss in not stating that Takia White has taken the planning department under her wing for a very long time, which has made it very easy for me to transition to this role. The major development list that you had tonight, Mayor, was backed by her, and we worked through different things out in the field earlier this week. So I did want to give a shout out to Takia. She works very hard in our office, and I think I would be remiss in not stating that. As for tonight, there is a proposed amendment to the tree preservation ordinance. You'll see that it is marked up a fair bit. Those revisions were triggered by a staff visit to a site where a tree was removed. The recent revisions to the tree ordinance allowed this removal. The previous standards that we had in place wouldn't have allowed it without oversight. So this new revision provides more steps required for anyone looking to remove large tracts of trees or individual trees based on set criteria. As I mentioned, planning staff work very hard. We are here from Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. My door is generally open unless I'm on a call or in a meeting. So if anyone would like to come stop by, please do. More than happy to talk to you about any planning needs that you have or zoning. That's all I have. Or I will say, sorry. We did approve 6 zoning permits this month or in the month of December. So it was kind of a mild month with the holidays, but whatever y'all would like me to present in the future, I'm more than happy to include in my report.
6 zoning permits,
That's correct, 6 zoning permits.
6 permits, but people wanted to improve on the property or zoning changes.
So we received or issued 4 new residence permits,
Okay.
a renovation and a generator to be installed.
Okay.
So they range in different activities.
Yeah.
We just review them based on the zoning standards, then they move forward with their building service
Okay. I'm with you.
through Truxton County.
Can I get a point of clarification from our learning counselor? What's the legal opinion on councilman with the pending planning commission?
I think it is fine for council members to attend planning commission meetings. If it is a legislative matter in which planning commission is sitting a recommendation capacity, I would probably feel comfortable with a council member talking to them. However, if planning commission is sitting a quasi judicial role in terms of approving plats or plans. And I think it would be improper for a council member to make statements or try to encourage planning commission to do something one way or the other, because they're supposed to be fully impartial in that circumstance.
If this is the appropriate time, we found some other time, could you provide us with something like that in writing so that we can.
Sure.
Have it, so that, you know, there won't be any misunderstanding if we go to one, if we go.
Sure.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I hate the planning department, oh, yes, please.
I just wanted to echo what you said. Kent and I sat with Dan earlier in December and we were very impressed. Your boyish looks disguise exactly how competent you are. And this town is very lucky to have you.
Yeah, the coolest room in the building is where Takia and Dan work. And I see everybody trying to stop in there and get in some of that good energy. A lot of the greatness that's gonna come out of this town in the next 2 years will shape the next 20 will happen in your office, and I agree, we are lucky to have you here. Thanks for making the effort. So, Dan, hey, everybody. Oh, Lordy, all right, now, guess who's having a birthday? Waterman Ron. For the water department.
Not another one.
What's that?
Not another birthday.
Yeah.
Come the end of the month, I'm gonna have a report to go to Cameron and for that to the council. Giving you basically a 5-year plan, telling you what we have done over the last 2 to 3 years. Where we are, what needs to be done in the next 5 years or so. Pending on money and grants. Right now, in January of 23, when I walked into this place as a consultant for the water department, you had 240 customers based on the water system, that's the customer. Today, you have 416 active customers. And you have 128 inactive customers. So that's a total of 544 metered customers that we have in this system at this time. What we can look forward to over the next year or two is 3 major developments that are going on in this area. The Preserve at Seaweed Sound, which is another 90 units coming into the area. Seaweed Landing, which is another 66 lots coming into this area. And Cape Romaine, phase 1, approximately 85 units if that happens. So over the next year and a half, you're gonna see another 240 units available coming in and running through the water system. We try to keep up with the growth of the town and the lots and to consider what's going on for the next 3 to 5 years, and that's the reason we put together a 5-year plan. I put a 3-year plan together a couple of years ago, and that's been going to be expanded into a 5-year plan. That Catherine's requested will take care of it. We have 1 fire hydrant that needs repair, and we have 1 fire hydrant that somebody does not clean out of the ground, and it is totally working.
Consider this an emergency, we need those put back in place. I've put out a request for quotations from 3 contractors today, all 3 of them said that yes, they would give us a quotation. I will have those quotations in 2 weeks and have them ready to come back to town council at the next February's town council meeting for review and approval, so that we can get going or doing it. What I would like tonight from mayor and council and family is, I need to buy a fire hydrant. It's $3,200 plus tax. So when I have the appropriate type of fire hydrant ready, I don't want somebody coming in with a contract and just saying that's not ready. We have new fire hydrants throughout the system, and that's what we want to maintain. So we'll buy a new fire hydrant that they normally use and have that already for the contractor to exceed the quotation and the bid for big meeting.
Is that an insurance claim, Ron, or is that just money out of the television? Because people are gonna hit fire hydrants.
One of them needs to be repaired. I know who did that, and that gentleman that owns the property said, yes, he'd be happy to pay for the repair of that one. The one that hit the fire hydrant just blew it out of the ground completely. I have no idea. Somebody's got to have it tore up front end of the car. Because you don't get the steel or the, cast iron rooms like that without tearing the front in the car.
And so you, I do see that could be considered an emergency because it's jeopardizing the public health.
Yes, sir. I've already, the fire department knows that, if they both of them are out of service, we need to get them back in service to properly serve the town of Florida.
That fall under the emergency procurement that we discussed the other day to let us do sooner than and not have to go through waiting until next month for approval for that.
How long do you think it would take you to get the actual item once you order it?
I'm hoping I'll have it here by the end of the month, so that when you.
So the timing may work out, but by the time you order it,
I'll have
you'll
it
pick
paid
the contract for the next meetings.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. What's wrong?
Do you have a firm timeline? I appreciate the owner offering to repair it, but what's his timeline is? Or are you gonna help him buy the appropriate, or does it need to be a new one?
There's gotta be a contractor, because they're gonna have a backhoe what's happened is that fire hydrants come off of the main and go up and go to a 90-degree and come up out of the ground. But then he hit it with a backhoe, with a bush hog actually, when he was cutting grass and stuff, and hit it this way. The 90-degree popped out like this. We had to turn the valve off on the 6-inch main going to the fire hydrant. So what's gotta happen is they gotta dig it up, and they've got to reconnect that 90-degree at the bottom and lock it down like it needs to be locked down, and then cover it all back up and it'll be set in place.
So, I guess I should have clarified. So our contractors, and he's just gonna pay for it, but
Yes.
we'll still be in charge of making sure it's done right?
Yes.
Okay.
So what's the appropriate deal here? I mean, obviously, Ron, you still got money to buy a fire hydrant. Is this a motion to emergency appropriate some funds? And then,
Gather their funds in the budget for, like, would it be for the water budget?
It would be for the water fund. And I would find the appropriate line item.
Yes.
so the money exists.
I believe there's money in a reserve fund for the proprietary budget, isn't there?
There is the emergency fund as well,
Okay.
the reserve fund that has.
Normally that would come under operation and maintenance of the water system. Whenever you get to, when you need a budget for the whole place.
I noticed no entity that's trying to ensure your fire hydrant problem.
In that reserve account, we have $25,000.
Certainly more than 32 million.
$32,000.
You need, council authorization to spend it?
Yes.
Hydrant's
$3,200. $3,200, not $32,000, $3,200 from the highest.
That's just for like, that's not the labor. They all have to put it back in place.
So there's one that needs to be repaired, that's the contract.
There's one that needs to be repaired, and the other one needs to be completely.
So we need to, so does the motion need to sound like, we make a motion to, access the emergency repair funding for the purposes of buying a fire hydrant at, no more than $3,500. as soon as possible as stated by our water pro. And this week, Ron.
Contractors, when they come back in, you'll have three of them to look at, to see which one to choose, based on pricing.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, or no discussion? I'm sorry. Yes, what do you have to say?
What I understand now is the $3,200 for you or probably whatever the terminology, three-way valve, whatever they do with it.
Yes,
But this is standard.
2.5 inch connection and a 5 inch connection.
Okay.
That's standing in the middle of the fire hydrant.
All right, Mueller three-way. For the $3,200, you want permission to just go out and buy that, so we've got.
Yes.
And then the
Right.
contract thing will be for,
Weeks after, we got these guys
the
bid.
contract will be for installation,
Basically, one here.
okay, so that'll be an extra charge that shouldn't be that much money.
No, it just depends on the quotes that we get back for the construction, but that wouldn't include the fire hydrant. So right now the ask is to use from the reserve fund for the purposes of purchase this fire hydrant to not exceed $3,500.
Okay, and we'll deal with the installation.
Yes, the installation will come back at the February meeting.
What my request was that we would supply the fire hydrant, and they would do the actual work, install the property.
Thank you. Let's vote.
Any further discussion?
I got one.
Yes, sir.
How come the town just don't buy an extra fire hydrant to have it on hand for emergency?
That's a good question. Because people are gonna continue to run into fire hydrants. It's pretty common to need to buy a fire hydrant.
Honestly, it's not that common, so that you have a fire hydrant, this one that was destroyed, like this one is, my 20 some odd years is not pleasant, I think I have 3 in 20 years.
In our 2 years, this is the first we've ever. This
Right. I mean,
isn't a long period of time, but
that's some kind of like parable or something, like it'd be bad enough to tear up a fire hydrant. So, did we vote? All, yeah, so motion on the floor, do I, any further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion carries.
There's one last ice. Any of you that want to go, I'm happy to take you and show you the water plants. Just to give you a complete tour of both water plants, so you can see what we have, what we're doing, how we're doing. And, the condition that they're in.
I would love to do that. I've been wanting to get in touch with you to do that, so.
Yeah, and
Maybe Catherine.
if it's possible, I'd like to have all of that different ones, if you want to do it individually, I understand that. But just let me know, get the big Catherine, let me know.
It can't be all of us at once, so we'll have to advertise it publicly.
what days are you here, Ron? What days of the week are you here?
I'm here right now, Monday through Thursday, just like everybody else is.
Okay.
But, some days I'm not, like Monday, I'm not gonna be here, because I gotta go take care of the financing of the brand new home.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
I got one more question.
Yes, sir.
How much longer can this tank out here support new homes coming in?
At this point right now, I would say for at least another 5 to 10 years.
Just this one tank or both tanks?
Well,
The system we have.
the system that we have two shallow, two relatively deep wells at 240 foot deep. Each one of them runs about 240 to 250 gallons a minute. By health department regulation, you can only run a well for 16 hours a day. I've got it in what I'm putting together for you gentlemen and ladies for the next month's meetings. It'll tell you how many units we've got, how many gallons we can produce, and how long that'll do, and what we have left over, and how many units you will be able to serve with that. And right now, I don't see a problem with this. I think you'll run out of land, developing the land before you run out of water. We're pumping, in the wintertime, I'm pumping 4 or 5 hours a day out of 16. In the summertime, 6 to 8 hours a day out of 16. So we're nowhere near the maximum yet, you know. As long as we maintain the wells properly. Any other questions?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is an inactive service? Say you have 128 inactive services. What is
That would be a unit where we have installed a meter because of a house or whatever, and the house is vacant, or there's no one using the water, they ask for it to be turned off, or they just, for some reason, they're not using the water, and so they ask it to be turned off. If you have a rental and it's not being used, you don't want to leave the water on. You might as well turn it off.
Are there not also people utilizing, or that aren't tied into the water system, but are still paying the town money for?
Yes, those are some.
How many
Yes.
are those?
I don't know that answer.
No ballpark?
Honestly, no.
Would anybody know the answer to that
Twenty-eight of them that are not being billed or not being read on a regular basis. What we would have to do is we would have to, in this crazy system that we have, we'd have to make every one of them active to read the meters.
I'm having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, order please. I don't know where y'all are going, municipal government's fun. We're just, darn, all right, we'll see you next time.
We could turn on all the 128 that are inactive in the system, and then it would read those plus the ones that are active. That would give us an idea as to whether or not somebody's using water that shouldn't be using water, or if it's just a normal passive, nobody's using water. I know there's a couple of trailers and stuff around here in property that nobody's living in those trailers right now. I just honestly don't know how many inactive is.
But I'm talking about ones that are, that are not tied into the water system, but yet are paying the town a monthly fee for not tying into the water system. You know, it's a minimum monthly fee, and they're not tied in.
I don't have that one.
But there is such a thing, right?
There's a thing, and we can pull that mandatory connection report from that, for that billing cycle from our utility billing system. To give you the exact number, we just don't have that currently on the time.
Okay, can council be provided with that information, please?
Yeah, I think this may be much like the housing department where we create a report and set some expectations on what we'd like the report to look like. And I think that'd be good to have some structure around it, to have a sort of codified report, on what to expect and so forth. Rob, how long you been working in water?
Since 1969.
That's a year before I was born. That's like 56 years.
I became an operator at half dozen water works at Shell Commission in 1970, January of 1970. I got out of the Navy on the 18th of December, 1969. So I went to work in January in Mount Pleasant Water at Shell Commission. I worked there for almost 20 some odd years. The last 15 or 16 of it, I was the manager. Besides that, I worked at June Valley Public Service District for 5 years. And then I worked over at Isle Palm Water and Sewer Commission for 3 years after they bought it from Charlie Way and made it a public utility. And I was their first manager and have to put together, I did the processes of my own.
So suffice to say, you got a lot of experience. Bill, we're lucky to have you. Thank you for what you do for us. Any further questions for Waterman Ron? All right. So, Gag, what's one of the things that's hobbling our water system is a poor software set up, and the software that we use, I've looked at it and I've seen how it doesn't work well. And one of the things that I've got to do is put out an RFP for us to get new software, that'll get us on the right track. I really do believe that we can have a model water system. And I know we've been vexed with it and frustrated by it and all that sort of thing. The next 2 years, we're gonna have the best water system. It's gonna be a model in the southeast. There's no reason to believe me, you watch. All right, so next we'll get to the ordinance for second reading. Ordinances for second reading, the letter A, the first one, ordinance 2025-46, annexation ordinance using 100% petition method of tax map number 629000043, 1053 Broomstraw Hill Road. Okay. Do I hear a motion to pass that?
So, to pass the ordinance.
Just a real quick point on this one, there was the original annexation ordinance. There were some questions about it, the lawyer, like me and the lawyer, my firm drafted some clarifying language, so you may just want to be clear that if you're, which one you're adopting, the one with the highlights is the amended one that provides additional clarity.
I'm sure you guys looked back at all that map, everybody decided to see a map in there. So how do I make that?
It would just be to adopt the annexation ordinance as amended.
So adopt the annexation ordinance as amended. Did I get it done?
Yeah, the reason it was confusing, just by way of background, I'll be very brief, is these were two lots. The first smaller lot was annexed into the town, then the lot line was abandoned, so they all
What
became
does that
one.
mean?
That means there were two separate lots and there was a line that went in between them. Smaller lot got annexed into Allendale. It was in Charleston County. Then the planner, they went through the process of abandoning the lot line, so it was all became one big lot.
Through our
So-
planner.
Yes, so ultimately it was one big lot. Half of that lot was in Allendale, half is in Charleston County. That's all we're fixing. Okay, if that makes sense.
Wow.
Which is what the clarification seeks to accomplish, because it is confusing.
So we have a motion on the floor to accept as amended. Do we have a second or?
Yes.
Do you have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. And then B ordinance 2025-47 annexation ordinance using 100% participant method of tax map number 629-00-00-286 on Devers Lane. Have a motion to accept that ordinance.
I make the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, here's some first reading ordinances, ordinance 2026, this is the, this has to do with the moratorium and, so first reading ordinance 2026-01, an ordinance to amend chapter 153 zoning code, section 153.010 of the code of the town of Allendale, South Carolina, imposing a temporary moratorium on the issuance of all residential and commercial zone change proposals, rezonings, and subdivisions of residentially zoned land, subdivision plat approvals comprising more than 5 parcels of land for the purpose of providing town council to implement any necessary changes to the zoning ordinance, land use regulations, and or comprehensive plan now under review. May I have a motion to accept ordinance 2026-01?
Motion to approve.
Second. Discussion.
This essentially is the same moratorium ordinance that was in place last year with a couple of additions, just extending it so that we can continue the rezoning process and finding our land use regulation.
Yeah, thanks for your language around that too. It was seems like very well done. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, public comment process B, ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance to amend chapter 30 general provisions. Subsection 30.049 B2 citizen presentations, comments to amend the provisions for public comment. Do I hear a motion?
What is that, what does that involve?
Let's get the discussion.
Right.
Yeah, good question. So motion to approve,
So moved.
second,
Second.
and now the discussion.
What does that entail, what's the problem with the public comments?
I read it, I was pretty pleased with the way it was worded. As far as to for the good of the people of town. Where did I must have read that in my packet. It seemed like it was putting some parameters around. How we. Allow public comment, much like every other town meeting I've ever been to. Where there's a time limit, there's just some parameters around. It. I'll find the page, but does anybody, Matt, you
I
have?
said 25 in fact, is where a lot of the changes are. The one big thing that kind of came up and that we added is, subsection I, which several municipalities recently have done this, City of Hanahan, the school district has done this too, but it's to comply with the spirit of the Freedom of Information Act and to ensure that meetings are conducted in an efficient, orderly manner. Council members shall neither respond to nor take immediate action on concerns or comments publicly expressed. However, all concerns and comments will be appropriately considered by the council. Council members are committed to engaging with citizens who speak at council meetings after the meeting concludes and may propose action items relating to public comments to be considered at future meetings. The issue is like if there's an item that isn't on the agenda, but a citizen brings up and council starts deliberating, debating it, it's likely a FOIA violation because it's not an agenda item. It's just a member that the item that the member of the public brought up. Plus, it also gives council and the town time to like get real information as a public member of the public rather than just firing stuff off from the guys up here. That's probably the most substantive.
Is the way that it is now significantly different from the way that it is in other similar towns?
You're saying your current ordinance?
Yeah, like,
So in a sense, yes, and that it didn't have like time limits and parameters and things like that set up. But these amendments are pretty similar to what is adopted in most towns now. This will bring it to where it's similar to other municipalities.
but otherwise it's just widened.
But like a very similar one was adopted is being adopted by Hanahan, the city of Hanahan currently. Because they had issues during their public comment section, so.
I did, like, we had a political science class the other day with Desiree from our, municipal, government association, and she was trying to explain to us some of the stuff, nobody asked her, she just went on and on, but but part of the idea is that what we're doing up here is teamwork. Like this is municipal governing is a team sport, and the idea that you're, as a presenter, you're allowed to speak to us as a body. Yeah, like the council, but not the point, and she scared me a little bit, because I was sitting over there and she was like, you mayor. And I was like, she was like, that's generally not allowed. But you can speak to the council because it's a team, and it's a body, and that municipal government is a team sport. Any other questions, any other discussion, Ken?
The other thing this does too is like if a member of the public comes and wants to talk about their specific neighbor or those sort of things, it gives the mayor the ability to calm that down. So you can talk about executives, you can trash council members, you can express your political views, but you can't bring up like your neighbor's child or if it's Donna's, something. You can't personally attack people that haven't signed up to be personally attacked. So, which everyone behind this diocese pretty much has. So,
Thank goodness. All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
All right.
All opposed? All right. This is the one. All right, ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance to amend chapter 32 boards and commissions and chapter 154 town municipal park subsection 154-.010 municipal park board to include provisions for board, commission, and committee members to be removed by the town council. I hear a motion to accept the first reading of ordinance 2026-03.
I move to approve.
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. This is the Lorax ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance to amend chapter 153 zoning code tree preservation requirements division subsection 153.195 and 153.196 to restructure the review, mitigation, and site restoration process for the removal of protected trees. I hear a motion to accept ordinance 2026-04.
Motion to approve.
Your second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, all the way to number 15. Yeah, I don't know if we still have a majority of people, miscellaneous items, the first, item up the bid on miscellaneous item is the 2026 holiday dates. Have you all seen the holiday dates? And I would, I'd make a motion to open discussion on the 2026 holiday dates.
In a motion, in a second, then you have discussion.
I don't want a motion to approve, I want a motion to discuss. But I don't think we can, I'd like to discuss, like, you have a motion to approve the 2026 holiday dates.
So moved.
Second,
Zach.
now let's discuss. If you look at the Christmas, this is back to my Christmas thing, that I believe in, like, big old Christmas holiday, family time. But the way it looks is the way Christmas falls this year. It's, the 24th, 25th, and then a weekend or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then the staff has the 28th off, which is the first Monday after Christmas. And what I'd like to do is trade that 28th, which is, and this is based on the state recommended holidays, trade the 28th for the 23rd. So everybody gets the day before to travel or receive travelers, or get ready to receive travelers. The 23rd, the 24th, Christmas, and then that weekend falls. And then everybody gets back to work on the 28th, which is a Monday. Discussion.
I have the discussion. We've been waiting a long time on personnel manual. And I know, reading it, that it includes, paid holidays in the document. It's my understanding that we do have a personnel manual now, is that correct?
Yes.
What are the paid holidays established in the document that council has already approved?
The dates that are provided in front of you.
So they're all.
New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr., President's Day, Memorial Day, Juneteenth, Independence Day, Labor Day, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving Day, the day after Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and the day after Christmas.
Okay, so I think in this case, the day after Christmas falls on a day that, like a weekend day, right?
Yes.
So we have 12 paid days in the
Yes.
employee pay. As noted on what this document calls on a regular meeting calendar.
The town holiday calendar.
Oh, excuse me.
On page 35.
So I'm not trying to add a day, I'm just trying to change a day. So it doesn't increase the days off, it just gives, it changes the 28th to the 23rd. Because the 28th is a Monday. And
This makes.
Just because of, you're thinking just because of where Christmas falls in the.
Right.
all the rest of it, yeah, or not.
Fine.
It doesn't give anybody an extra day off like I did this year.
Wait, I thought we, I'm
Day.
sorry, I thought you said we only had 12 approved. In the manual.
This is their.
This is 13.
Yeah, I can never
We don't have
remember
an
a day after, a day after Christmas. It was Christmas Eve and Christmas morning. It was 2 days. It was either the day before or the day after Christmas. And that was generally decided on where it fell that we would. There, I don't believe there ever were 3 days off for Christmas. And it not man, we verify that.
Yeah, regardless of what your policy says, which is adopted by resolution, y'all can by motion change your holiday. Right. So there's nothing that like, even if this is inconsistent with what's in your employer manual, y'all can adopt whatever you think.
Well, you got a comment?
I do. Obviously, this is time sensitive because of like MLK and President's Day, but some of this falls into the next fiscal year, which is going to be a different fiscal budget for salaries. And I know that makes it tricky approving this. I would encourage us to look at holidays fiscally, because that's the way the budget is for salaries and such. And also because we're waiting on the employee manual, I'm still unclear about, I mean, so for me personally, historic.
Here's this, right? Mr. Rubin.
I think we're still waiting for a final max employee manual. To adopt.
Yeah, are we working
done?
on what? I think y'all provided a bunch of comments, you were working on it, and we're gonna bring it back to full council once after the election.
Well, but I've always just used I'm given personal time off, and I just add that to create my own holiday if I need to take an extra day off. And so if we've only budgeted 12 days, we need to be careful. We just need to be careful with what our manual is doing, and I know we can always vote and override, I just think we should try to be as consistent as possible. Because we do have PTO that our employees have that they can use.
Are we debating on whether or not they get 3 days off at Christmas?
That's one of them, yes.
I mean, are we saying that we're all willing to offer the 24th and the 25th? We're not willing to offer 3 days Christmas. That's the biggest holiday of the year. Like my kids had like 11 days off.
That's what's under discussion, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm passionately in favor of offering 3 full days off at Christmas.
To get one vote.
Like the 23rd, the 24th, and the 25th.
Keep in mind, we're talking about two things here. We're talking about when we're going to give employees off. We're also talking about when the facilities are closed.
In the budget, as Wendy mentioned.
And a manning, right?
In the budget. In the budget.
You know, the budget, it pays people.
We should say.
Is what dates were closed?
What dates people get paid,
Like they have their
off for
own
when we're
vacation that they
closed.
can use.
right, that they don't work. They get
But I'm
paid.
also saying this tells us when in the public, when the office is closed.
Correct. Yes.
That's true too.
Yes, good.
But that should have been done in December. So we will be having this discussion in the new calendar year. It should be published before the calendar year starts.
I bet you if we keep talking about it, we could talk about it till everybody leaves. So
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we offer the 23rd, 24th, and 25th off at Christmas time for all staff. Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion,
None.
We've already gone through
all
that.
in favor,
Aye.
all opposed,
Ayes have it.
all right.
We're super for 35 years. There's no Christmas.
All right, meeting calendar, we're down to the meeting calendar, and then we are. You wanna drive this one? The next one.
So the meeting calendar is by ordinance, all of the standing meetings for the town council, which is on the first Thursday. The Board of Zoning Appeals, the Planning Commission, and the Municipal Park Foundation Board. All of those ones that the meeting dates have been moved are ones by an asterisk. I will point out that September, when going through those meeting dates, the Board of Zoning Appeals falls in the first Monday, which is Labor Day, and it typically moves to the next day. Looking at it, there was an error that I made where the Municipal Park Board also falls in that second Tuesday. We did discuss with the Board of Zoning Appeals, and they'd be willing to move that date for their standing meeting date to September 1st. And the next one too would be, because the planning commission is on the third Monday, December 21st, that is close to the week of Christmas. If they would be willing to move that maybe up a week, Because if there are going to be a lot of planning items and you wanna have the most public involvement. There have been complaints that have stated that because it's so close to that holiday, that there's not enough public. Cause everybody's traveling and going home to their families.
The town's open for business, correct?
The town is open for business, that is correct, but for the public. The public meeting, if you're going to have a lot of items that are going to be discussed and a lot of changes. The public could say that you're not having a lot of public involvement, I just wanted to point that out, that because it this falls naturally on the week.
Could we move into the 14th?
Yes.
Okay. So
It
do
was
you need a
a
motion?
suggestion, you don't have to,
Do you need a motion?
yes.
So I make a motion to adjust the September meeting of Board of Zoning Appeals from September 8th to September 1st. And also include the Planning Commission to move their meeting from December 21st to December 14th of 2026.
Here's a second.
I'll second that motion.
What was it again? I'm looking at this.
Changing September 8th to September 1st.
So we're talking about planning commission, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4th column over, correct?
EPA, the second.
Third column, 1, 2, 3. Going down to September. Right?
Yes.
And September 21st to September, what? We don't.
They changed
September 3rd.
Board of Zoning Appeals from September 8th to September 1st, and they changed Planning Commission from December 21st to December 14th.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
So BZA September 1st,
All right.
Planning Commission December 21st to the 14th.
I'm having a hard time following that. But anyways,
Any further discussion?
I would just suggest where it is, because there's an anticipation of people who need to have business conducted before the town that look to a schedule to accommodate their business.
But that's why we're publishing it. I mean, December to be published a year in advance almost.
Let's get
You
minutes.
have to do this under FOIA.
Yeah.
So you're.
Yeah, and it should be done before the first of the year.
Well, we know that, but
We're catching.
I don't think there's a problem moving it to the 14th. Because that actually is gonna allow for more public
Well,
participation.
that's your vote, if that's what you choose. I think you can stay where it is, because the town's open for business.
All right, any more discussion? Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
All right, so, guys have it, motion carries. Oh, nice, so we're all the way to executive session, right? And guess what, you did it, you say all the way to executive session, so thank you all for coming, we're gonna ask you to head out, all we gonna do executive session.
All right, here we go.
Motion to go into executive session. For
Second.
stated purposes on the agenda. And also take a 5-minute bathroom. break. 5 minutes. You've got a motion and a second.
I would state the full purpose, which is for personnel matters pursuant to section, let's see. Read it, just in case.
I move that we go into executive session. For the stated purpose of personnel matters, SC Code Section 30-4-70A1. Concerning evaluation and priority goal setting of the town administrator and personnel matters related to the utility manager position. Upon returning to open session, the council may take action on matters discussed in executive session. But prior to doing so, as part of the primary motion, that we take a 5-minute break before going into executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried.
You mean we made that statement?
Yeah, we're kind of in a session, no voting came in that session, but we would like to name, motion for some,
We need to come also out of executive session to adjourn.
I think they did that before we turned the cameras on. Wendy made the motion, Ray seconded it.
We were all in favor.
So, we did want to entertain a motion on the administrator's evaluation. For her comment.
You ready, Donna? Okay. I make a motion to approve the town administrator performance evaluation form to be completed and returned to the mayor by January 15th. And then a meeting to review with the town administrator said evaluation on January 26th at 7 p.m. And I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
The second motion is for the town administrator to pursue the offer to the candidate for utility manager. However, I was supposed to word that. Good.
What was that last one?
Pursue, presenting an offer to the candidate for utility manager.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
was it.
thought you said something on
I was just asking, was that?
She said, however, I was supposed to say that. She
Yeah.
went right.
And we're not supposed to say the guy's name.
It's best practice not to, because he's currently.
Can I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
You can ask for a motion. to-
Motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second. All in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
All opposed?